Hey everyone, this is the second video in a series of track mat and handwriting demos. This is going to be a demo on how to deal with a kind of handwriting effect, or this idea that as you are looking at text, it can be drawn before your eyes. Now, the problem is that text has its own paths, which are very specifically in outlines. And this particular text was generated in After Effects, so neither of those are really going to help us actually draw these individual lines. So in order to do that, we're going to have to make a new kind of mask, which is a track mat mask. So what we're going to do is, here I have this bit of text, and I'm going to go ahead and just start with the pen tool, and I'm going to start tracing this text in the order that I want to do it. I'm going to stop halfway through because I kind of have this already done in another composition, and you don't need to watch me work all the way through it, but this is essentially what you would be needing to do. So for example, I can start with basically in the order that this is going to be. Go ahead and start tracing this. Now, this has some previous settings. The stroke and fill are really not appropriately scaled. So first, I'm going to scale down this stroke so it kind of only just covers the black of the text. Now, it also has a fill on it, and so I can go ahead and get rid of that fill. Simply by going into the shapes and selecting fill and get rid of it. Now, you'll see why this is important, but basically these little corners are actually going to be distracting, and so you might want to adjust how After Effects renders these lines. So one way to get rid of these corners, which are going to reveal this line before we get there, is I'm going to go into stroke, and you can kind of play with how these corners work. We've looked at butt cap versus round cap before. I'll just leave it at butt cap. But we can also do a miter join, which is basically having a point to it, a round join, or what I think is going to work better is a bevel join. So now it's actually going to stop before it's going to stop at that that point as opposed to go beyond it, and that's going to allow this effect to work a lot better. Okay, so I've made a drawing and I need to continue it. What you need to do is, in order to continue it with the pen tool, you need to make sure that you select the last point, as I've done here. And so this last point is a dark blue square while the others are hollow. And so then I can go up and click here to there. And you really have to learn your pen tool. Click and drag. And then I'm going to go ahead and just make to the E. And what I want to do is I want to keep drawing, but I don't want to draw over existing letters. So I'm going to keep doing this, that, and let's try that one more time. You have to get in there. There, I selected it. And I'm going to go ahead and do this. So, and I'm also going to have to massage this a bit. So I've made this with a pen tool. I'm going to have to kind of adjust some of these things. I'm going to go up to the selection tool, shortcut V. That way I can select some of these elements and just kind of get it. What I want it to do is make sure that it covers all the black in this this composition. And then what we just take a moment and cover the black bits. You'll have to do some adjustment, fine tuning. And essentially what you'll end up doing is you get this to cover the full thing. Now, I'm not going to do the whole thing simply because in considering time, but I think that's a good start. And what you'll ultimately want to do is turn this into yet another trim path. So I'm going to go ahead and select the contents of this shape layer. I'm going to add a trim path, and I'm going to work with the end and make another keyframe and go back to the beginning. So now when I play this, it will draw along the lines of the text. Now, I have finished this over here on the next one. So you can see it play out here. And I've done it in black, so it looks a little nicer. Still, I think some fine tuning could happen over here, but I think you'll get the point. Now, I think if you work with black, this is a really good way to deal with a alpha mask. So I'm going to go ahead, and we've talked with track mats. So here's the shape layer. And if I go to the shape layer and select the track mat, I can select an alpha mat. And you'll see that now when I play it, the alpha shows whenever it's going to show nothing if it is transparent, and it's going to show something if the graphic, which is this shape layer, has something there. And so that's going to be when the line draws, it's going to draw over the existing letters, and it will reveal the letters as it goes, like this. Now clearly that takes some adjustment, but that's the basics of a handwriting effect.